Hello, eager learners, and welcome back to another week of English 235. Over the last week, you were working on your memo and your peer review, thinking about what kind of recommendation reports you want to write, what kind of topics might work for you, what kind of research exists on those topics. The memo is a really nice kind of safety net, because as you're creating the annotated bibliography portion of that memo, you'll find whether there's enough information even to tackle your topic before you begin writing your very extensive report. So this memo is designed not only to help you accumulate information and think through your process, it's also just a nice little box to check that says, will this project work? Is there enough research? Do I have ideas that are clear and manageable and workable? So hopefully you found putting together that memo was a useful thing for you. Not only is it a form that is used across the world in business, it's also a very nice way to check and make sure if your ideas make sense and if they're viable as we continue forward on this project. So lots of good stuff with that. I'm looking forward to reading them. The few I've glanced over so far are looking solid indeed. So bravo. This week, we are going to be working on your standard operating procedure. Now, this document, I think, is really fun. You may disagree with me, and that is, of course, your prerogative because you're the ones who are having to create it right now. But it is my favorite one to read and grade and look through because it shows so many fun parts of like who you are as a person, what makes you tick, and how your brain works, which I think is just so fascinating. So the SOP is a standard operating procedure. Those of us in the know like to call it SOPs, but if you don't want to sound like silly using acronyms, you can just call it a standard operating procedure. Pretty straightforward there. So let's take a look at this assignment in more depth and detail. Of course, there's lots of help in the modules. I'll show you in a minute. But as we take a look at this procedure assignment, once again, we are linking to that external website that the excellent professor Bob Peterson and I created for this class. And this will give you a lot of information about your topics, about how an SOP might work, all of that good stuff. So an SOP is a standard operating procedure. It is basically just a format for instructions. So if you're ever asked to write a how-to guide, perhaps in your workplace, even something as informal as how to correctly clean the beakers in the lab for your lab assistant. You've got to write that down on a piece of paper and show them how to do it, right? So this is a very, very helpful kind of document. It's used in various forms across the professional industry. When I worked as a technical editor for an engineering firm, I wrote SOPs every single day, basically. These were just instructions for people doing different tasks. Basically, I was writing guidebooks or snazzy little instruction sheets like you get in your IKEA boxes, except mine had words and not wonky pictures, right? So lots of good stuff for SOPs. If you're wondering what kind of topic makes for a good SOP, I've got some brainstorm lists for you here. How to change a tire, how to wash a car or truck, how to edit a photo. Really just pick something that that you enjoy. Little humor for you here. Don't do this one. It is bad. Don't do that. But lots of good things here. I find a lot of people like to write SOPs on how to make something. Maybe something that they're very good at making. If they've got their grandma's favorite enchilada recipe, sometimes they like to do that as their SOP, show exactly how to make these perfect enchiladas, include pictures of them making the enchiladas, go through a step-by-step process. That seems to lend itself very well to this kind of assignment, but really it can be instructions for doing anything. I have two children, right? I've got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. Back before COVID, when I had babysitters, I would write an SOP for the babysitter. Like, here is the instructions on how to get the children to go to sleep for you at night. And I'd have lined out steps. They need their dinner. They need a bath. They get to sing these songs and read these books. And then they get a little cuddle. And then they go to bed. You know, so you write instructions on how to do anything. Instructions on how to get your kids to bed. Instructions to write or to make enchiladas. Instructions on how to tap dance. Really, anything that you're good at, anything that you're interested in, anything you would like to teach to someone else, great topic for the SOP. Once again, just like in our descriptive definitions assignments, you are going to want to pick something like smaller and manageable. Don't write an SOP on how to build a house, because that document's going to be real long, guys, right? Like just like dictionary size long. So pick something small enough you can write about in just a couple pages. You are going to need at least 2 figures for this assignment. Most folks find that they want to take the pictures of themselves doing the thing, which is awesome because you don't need to cite those. But if you find a good picture online, that's absolutely fine as well. Just do make sure that you cite it in MLA form as well. And we are formatting, not MLA, good heavens, this is tech writing. We're doing APA. Thank you. There we go. It's a good day, guys. It's Monday, right? Yeah, the days don't matter anymore because it's COVID, but it's Monday. We're working in APA style. We're all on board. We're all awake. We've all had coffee, right? We're good. We're good. So you are going to be formatting your images in APA style. That includes your figure number, your short description of the image, as well as the citation if needed. If you took the images yourselves, you don't need the citation. And how to use references. Here's an example. In case you need it. Once again, we're several pages long in here, so do make sure to click through all of them. There are some categories for procedures. These aren't terribly important for our assignment here, but if you are asked to write SOPs out in the real world, these kind of categorizations might be more helpful for you. And then we want to look specifically at some technical writing standards for procedures. We want to make sure the procedure that we're giving is accurate, that it's feasible. Somebody could do this thing that you're asking them to do, that it's highly specific. So you know step 1 moves to step 2 and so on and so forth, that it is honest. And this deals more with ethics and legal standards than like, am I lying to you about how good these enchiladas are? No, it's more about ethics. So I wouldn't recommend writing one how to hack into a government database or something like that, right? And then thoroughness, you want to make sure that this is a very clear SOP, that somebody could legitimately go through all these steps and come up with the same end result that you did. You want to be very thorough. And then our final page, I've got a template for you here. You've got an introduction where you talk a little bit about your project. We have a safety note. If anything you're asking your person to do is dangerous, we should let them know. If you're doing cooking stuff, say, don't touch hot pans, and ovens are hot, and knives are sharp, and don't be dumb, that sort of thing. But if you are trying to tell somebody how to clean a gun, of course, your danger and warning and caution will be a little bit more detailed, right? Definitions, anything that might need clarification, any highly technical terms, anyone that you randomly pulled off the street might not understand. Tools and equipment that you're going to need, you can just bullet point this list. If you're working with a recipe, these are all the things you need for the recipe, like all the ingredients and all of your cooking pots and all of your spoons and your oven, etc. The procedure, you're then going to break it down. What's the first thing you do? Step 1, step 2, your second phase, step 1, step 2. And once again, we want to be very highly specific. You want to start your steps with verbs. You want to have an action that's moving things forward. And then I've got some instructions on parallel phrasing for you here that you might find helpful. Then we wrap it all up with a conclusion and include references if necessary. That's how it goes. That's pretty straightforward, right? Clear as mud, exciting, fabulous. Glad we're all on the same page. So let's look at the modules and see what kind of stuff we have to help us out here. If we go down to our SOP, the standard operating procedure, I've got a whole PowerPoint on writing instructions and how that might be beneficial. I have one specifically designed for the standard operating procedure there. I've got some materials. I've got the template for you here. If you liked the bubble map that we used for definitions, you can use that here as well. I've got a sample SOP that I think you might find really, really helpful. And then usability testing. This is where we ask somebody to do our SOP and see if it actually works. So I just want to show you a sample SOP here real quick. Just because it always helps me to figure something out by looking at what someone else did. So this person decided how to make scones. We've got an introduction that tells us a little bit about the scones and why we might want to make them because they are delicious. And then there's a safety note. Here's all the equipment you're going to need, as well as a picture of the equipment that this person used. All of their ingredients, as well as a picture of the ingredients. And then they went through their procedures. Here's your prep. You got to get the oven hot. You got to get your bowl chilling, all that good stuff. Incorporate, this is where you add everything together. Construct, this is where you take the things that you've mixed and you turn them into things that look like scones. I like that she's got pictures here that show the different stages, kind of an artistic way to do this. You don't have to do fancy little thumbnails. You can incorporate them however you want to, but this is very helpful, of course, if somebody's trying to follow the instructions. You're using your words to describe something, but you're accompanying it with an image so that they can also see visually how this end product should look. She walks you through the baking process, how they should look when they're all done, and then she even offers some alternatives for those with other diets. Wraps it up all nicely in a conclusion, and bada bang, bada boom, she is all done, right? So excellent work here. This particular SOP scored pretty well, so I wanted to offer it up as an example for you of how this might come together as you're working on your own SOPs. We'll go back to our calendar just real quickly. Really, this week is work on your SOP. You are going to want to do a usability test. So you're going to write the SOP and then find a victim or a friend or a family member to test it for you. Because this is COVID, don't go out and grab a random person off the street. When we do usability testing in the workforce, we oftentimes usability test with people who know how to do the thing already, so our colleagues, but then we also get random people to do it too. So a random person off the street, hey, come in, see if this thing makes sense, in a little more professional of a setting. But basically, you're getting a random person with no prior knowledge coming in and doing your testing. So if you live with friends or family members, if you've bubbled with them, you know that they are safe people. Ask one of them to do the usability testing worksheet. If you are in isolation right now, the usability testing worksheet will be tricky. So if that's the case for you, send me a message because, of course, we're seeing a spike in COVID cases right now. And there are a lot of people in the Tri-Cities who are testing positive. So if you tested positive, if you're in isolation currently and you're not supposed to see any other human beings, send me an email. We'll figure out how to do the testing worksheet for you. And then we've got a really interesting discussion this week, a little video for you to watch, and a little discussion to do. This is just a reminder, continue working on your interview informant stuff. This isn't a hard, fast deadline by any means, but it's just a reminder that, hey, if you've not already started working on your interview, you probably should think about doing that sort of thing. And then we're going to be turning in the SOP on a Sunday. So exciting things coming our way as we head into Thanksgiving week next week. Fun things. All right. So as always, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm here to help. In the meantime, cases are spiking, so be careful, folks. Stay healthy, stay safe, wash your hands, wear your masks, don't lick doorknobs or stuff like that. So have a great week, guys. I'll talk to you soon.